And she's like, next to Joe Gideon, you're my favorite director. And his face just like freezes. And then she's like, and I'm so sorry your last show was a flop. Like, who is this girl?
Read the room. Why would you ever say that to someone?
Why would you say that to anyone?
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My mouth.
Of the music
It was fully sunny 5 minutes ago, and now it is just like snow squalls.
I am so sorry.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm glad I'm not outside.
Yeah, I know. I did a little bit of grocery shopping yesterday, and I'm very happy about it because it is disgusting outside. Disgusting.
Disgusting. If you can name that reference, you get extra points in my book.
What a weird movie.
I can't wait to talk about it. I knew nothing of what to expect. And I'm really, this is going to come in later when we talk about just like our general thoughts, but I'm very, very, very over the trope of the tortured white male artist who's just a jackass to everyone. But we forgive him because he's like so great. Yeah, over it.
Over and done with. Don't need it. Unnecessary.
Don't need a movie about it.
Well, and also a movie directed and written by that guy.
You know, he also wanted to star in it, and the producers were like, have you learned nothing?
They're like, did you not read the script? You had a heart attack, sir. Oh, okay. It felt so masturbatory.
Yeah.
It's just him jerking his own ego whole time.
But also with an angel of death intercut. Played by Jessica Lange.
I know I'm gonna die.
All right. Hello.
Okay. Hi.
Welcome. Glad this is not the first episode of season 2. This is episode 2 of season 2. Welcomed back to 5, 6, 7, 8, a movie musical podcast, the podcast where we review and recap movie musicals. We started season 2 off real strong, and now we're just so far into left field, it's coming at her right. I truly don't know how to preface this.
Yeah, no.
Any other way.
I was going to choose a different musical because I wanted to do something from the 70s. But then this, like, has won so many awards. It's, like, hugely lauded as, like, this incredible movie. So, guys, we are doing the 1979 movie, All That Jazz.
I have a question.
Yes.
If it's so highly rated and incredibly lauded, why is it impossible to find? Maybe it's because it's actually a bad movie.
Surprise, surprise, it's actually a bad movie.
To the FBI officer that's listening in on this call, I'm sorry. Grace found a website. I don't know which end of the internet it came out of. But
yeah. We were trying to find it. No one was streaming it except for, like, Roku, I think.
No, literally no streaming. We had to buy the hard copy DVD. That was the only way to watch this.
That was never going to happen.
I don't have a DVD player. All right. Before we even start this film, I want to preface it by saying this film takes place in 2 worlds. We have reality with our protagonist and all the people he's awful to. And then we also have a kind of purgatory dream world that's just featuring, for the most part, our protagonist. And then I called her the woman in white the entire time. It is Jessica Lange.
I had to look it up. It's Jessica Lange. Her name is Angelique. She is the angel of death. But I did not know that until I read the Wikipedia summary.
Yeah, she is in all white gauze with like a great hat.
Oh, God, her outfit.
She is never called Angelique. No. Ever. It's never said. And, like, again, if I hadn't read that she was supposed to be the angel of death,
I might have got the concept by, like, I'm going to say
like maybe
by the end. No idea what would have been going on beforehand. I think I was about 20 minutes in when I was like, who the fuck is this? And then I went and looked it up, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I fully had to ruin it for myself. I would have believed she was, like, a hallucination.
Or, like, an amalgamation of his, like, perfect woman, which is what he's, like, always searching for.
Yeah. Side note, and I can cut this. They were like, because he's obsessed with death. I'm like, I never got that.
He's all about living, and which is why he's dying, is because he's like not taking into
He's living too hard.
He's living too hard.
Oh my God.
Here for a good time, not a long time. That is Bob Fosse's entire life.
That's a great way to segue into this.
And we begin.
We fade in on a 6-count intro, and we get light bulb classic lettering of all that jazz, which is a reference to
Chicago.
Took
you a second.
No, because I always want to say cabaret. I've never seen cabaret.
Oh.
I know they're different, but sometimes my brain switches them.
They have very same tones in terms of like visual tones and
and
emotional
titles.
Tones. And titles. Fair. I cannot argue that point.
We see a man in his bathroom, coughing, putting in eye drops, taking an antacid, taking medication. From the medicine bottle, we learn that this is Joseph Gideon. We are witnessing his morning routine, which is every morning to keep himself alive. He plays a tape of Vivaldi and takes doses of Visine, which are eye drops, Alka-Seltzer, and Dexedrine, which is a prescription. He takes them all and he looks at himself in the mirror.
In the shower like a crazy person.
Living on the edge. And he's like, looks at himself in the mirror and he says, "It's showtime, folks."
Cut to an audition. Oh my God, this is the definition of a cattle call. I have never seen anything quite like it.
We are in a Broadway theater. There are easily 100 dancers on stage. They are so cramped in the back that first of all, you cannot see who is in the back from the audience.
You can really only see the first 20 people in front of your face. This is every dancer's nightmare of an audition.
We see 2 choreographers. We see Joseph Gideon, and we also see a woman choreographer who's working through steps. We also see several men in suits in the audience yawning, looking
so bored.
bored.
It's a super long
This is a long
sequence.
Scene.
It has super strong chorus line vibes, which I found very funny since Fosse did not get along with Michael Bennett. Anyway, it all wraps up, and in the background we also see a woman and a little girl watching this audition process and like laughing at some of
like
the
in the
dancers.
back of the house.
They're in the back of the house watching.
Slowly, dancers are cut until we have maybe like 2 dozen. We go through a small singing audition, which we like kind of can't hear, but we get the sense that some are good and some are bad. And then finally, when we have about 12 dancers left, there are, I almost don't want to call interviews, but it's kind of like
just like personality checks.
Where Joe goes down the line and asks them all a question. We only hear a couple of them. There's also one attractive dancer who Joe has her resume and goes, "Is this your home phone number on your resume?" And she kind of coyly looks at him. After this, we very quickly see 2 dancers who had been cut going down the stairs complaining, and one goes, "Fuck him, he never picks me," and the other one goes, "Honey, I did fuck him and he still doesn't pick me." Then we get our first dream sequence.
Yes. It's so hard to describe these, but it's basically just her asking questions about his motivations and him trying to explain himself. But like, she's very kind and obviously very indulgent of him, which
whenever we are in this dream world, it definitely feels kind of like a theater warehouse or backstage at a theater where there are props everywhere. There's like
a burlesque or like a vaudeville kind of vibe where there's just like a lot of props and a lot of like,
but like shut down for the night. Like there's
cluttered.
Never any other people there. The lights are always very low. It's like the back room of his mind, kind of.
Yeah, I'd buy that. Okay. I'd buy that. So
we cut back to the theater.
Joe goes to the back of the house to the woman and the little girl. This is his wife, ex-wife. I don't know where they were in the divorce process at this point. Estranged wife, Audrey, except for they still work together. Their relationship is bananas to me.
And their daughter, Michelle.
Audrey and his daughter, Michelle. He has chosen, he's like, "I'll choose the men later, but I know which women I want now." And he chooses them, and he goes to Audrey in the back of the house and is like, "Do you approve?" So Audrey is a part of this show that he's casting. She's the lead. So he's asking like, "Are you all good with these women that I've chosen?" She has a bit of a look on her face, but the little girl, daughter Michelle, is like, I think they're all really, really great." There's like a weird bit of tension in regards to the women that he's chosen between Joe and Audrey.
There's also implied from the producers that he chose some of the girls because they're attractive and he was going to sleep with them, not because they're actually good singers. One of the music...
I think one of them was just like, you didn't give me a soprano.
Yeah. Yeah, like the music director is beside himself because he doesn't have a soprano in the chorus.
He's like, how can I do this with no soprano?
Joe has to rush from the theater. Even though he promised his daughter they were going to hang out, he bails on their plans.
There's like a really quick moment where he talks to Angelique and he's like, oh, I screwed up my last marriage by cheating too much. And so like that's just like a moment of just establish the fact that he just fucks around.
He rushes from the theater, surprised, to the cutting room because he's also editing a movie he directed.
Yeah.
We see a scene of a stand-up comedian's monologue, and we definitely get the sense from Joe and from all the editors in the room that like they have been working on this scene, on this film, but specifically this scene for way too long.
Oh my God.
And Joe is just not satisfied. The minor editors complain that like we've watched this so many times, but we're gonna have to keep watching it until Joe feels like they got it right. We go from the editing room to the viewing theater, which is just like a very small theater where they're able to watch the screening. Joe is kind of in the center of the audience watching, and all the minor editors are in the back, and a woman comes into the theater, younger, pretty, long brown hair. We learn very quickly this is Katie, Joe's girlfriend. She asks him like if they're gonna have plans later, and he's very non-committal. He's like, yeah, maybe, like, and she just puts up with it. She's just like, okay.
He's like, I'm super busy, and she's like, well, then I'll meet you at your place. He's like, I don't know, it'll be late. And she was like, I can show up late. And I'm just like, oh my God. The dick can't be that good.
It can't be.
Anyway.
But Joe stops the film. He's unhappy, but he doesn't actually take any advice from the other editors.
No. I know, like, one of the women is just like, I really liked it. I thought it was funny. He's like, who asked you, Stacey? And I'm like,
just a
dude,
dick.
fuck off.
Joe leaves saying he's done for the day, but he has to go work late on his show. And I think we heard that kind of over voiceover because we immediately cut to his apartment and he's not working on his show. He's letting one of the hot girls from the
hot
audition
girl that
into
he asked
his
about
apartment.
her phone number.
Yeah. She comes into his apartment. They slow dance in his living room. Definitely some attraction there. And she tells him how she's always wanted to be a movie star. And he's so checked out.
He's checked out. She feels naive. Like, there's no...
Oh, yeah.
This just feels like going through the motions for no reason.
Feels really predatory.
Yeah.
Even though they're both consenting adults.
Yeah, they're both adults. But, like, there's the power imbalance, but, like, it's even then, I don't know, it just felt weird. And she's asking, like, do you think I could be in movies? And he, like, hedges, is like, oh, who knows in this kind of business? And she's like, no, I'm asking you, do you think I could be in movies? And he's like, no, I don't. And she's just like...
gets offended by that and upset, and she sulks. And she says, well, I don't even dance that well either. And he says, after working with me, you will. So, like, maybe you can't act. But by the end of this, you're going to be a better dancer.
God,
and then she invites him to bed.
To bed. Wild. Cut to later. Katie,
Joe's girlfriend, shows up at the apartment and finds him in bed asleep with the dancer girl. They're both asleep.
Well, and also he agreed, oh, we're going to meet up later tonight. I'll show up late.
She has a key, so she lets herself in. She brings her dog. The dog barks. Yeah. And Joe wakes up to see Katie standing over him. And she goes, I'm sorry. I should have called. What the...
No. Katie. I, like, want to grab her, like, by the face and be like, Katie.
Why are we indulging this behavior?
Why are we indulging this? Anyway.
But Joe's like, oh, I screwed up.
Oh, no. And so the... what's the audition girl's name? The Vivian?
Victoria.
Victoria's like, oh, I hope I didn't screw anything up. And Joe was like, no, it's all my fault. And then, like, sort of flirts with her again and falls back into bed with her instead of, like, going after his girlfriend. I don't know. It's weird.
Cut to a burlesque show.
Yeah. So basically we're back into his back room of his mind.
We are kind of in this, like, weird liminal space where, like, we are in a burlesque club. We see both the stage and the audience as well as backstage, but we also see the woman in white, Angelique, in kind of interviewing.
It's like a memory. It's like interviewing his mom.
Yeah. And she's fully standing, like, at a partial kitchen counter, but it's in the burlesque room.
Yeah.
Like, it's
cooking. but it's in a burlesque show. Yeah, it's super weird. So she gives a little bit of backstory about Joe's life. So he grew up in burlesque halls, and this was like less burlesque like the movie Burlesque, and more just like nipple
The
pasties
vaudeville
and like, you know, a
circuit.
little bit more strip clubby thing. And so cut to Joe as a kid backstage. He's like writing out something, and a dancer who's mostly naked comes in and looks at his work, and he like tries to convince her that he's of age, and she doesn't buy it, but she's still like, let's grab a drink
Is he
later.
doing his homework?
I don't know. It's like he's doing Latin.
And he lies and he says it was my kid brother's homework.
Yeah.
And he says like, oh, I'm 19. Whether he's lying or not, unclear.
Well, he doesn't know, like, the dancer is like, oh, you're 19? What year were you born? And he doesn't know what year it would be. He's also performing at this burlesque club.
He's got a tap act.
As a tap dancer. But while he's backstage waiting for the act to finish, 3 of these half-naked burlesque dancers come in and basically start sexually harassing this kid. This is supposed to get an explanation for his, like, obsession with sex that started at a super young age. But so he is super turned on by these 3 women that are basically groping him. And then he's called on stage to do his number. So he goes on and does his tap sequence. But then the audience starts laughing at him because this, like, 16-year-old kid who just had 3 adult women grope him came in his pants. Like, what the fuck is this?
We then cut to present day, like the memory fades with all of the audience full belly laughing at Joe.
Yeah.
We see his morning routine of Vivaldi and pills again with the it's showtime folks.
Yeah.
Katie is back in bed.
Yeah.
With
This is
him.
a different day.
He kisses her good morning, and she tells him that Katie's also a dancer. And she tells him that she's had an offer to go on tour for 6 months. And she asks what he thinks, and he says, I love you, but you should do what's best, and that would be to go.
Yeah. And then we get a small clip of him talking to Angelique, the angel of death, saying that, like, he believes in saying I love you, but he doesn't necessarily believe in love. So back to real life. Katie is very taken aback and hurt by him not fighting for her to stay. And so
Yeah.
she calls up a guy named Michael and is just like, hey, let's make dinner
Yeah.
plans. And just like fully makes date plans in front of him, which I did find to be a great power
Yeah, like
move.
she's still in bed.
Yeah,
in
his bed,
Joe's bed.
using his phone.
Yeah, she's just grabbed the phone off the nightstand. And Joe comes back and he's displeased that he's been replaced so quickly. Like, what the fuck did you expect, you asshole? And he teases her about it, but she does genuinely get upset. She goes, I don't want to date. I have no small talk left, which, fair. I can understand
I understand.
that. But she just wants to love Joe, which I said, no.
You know, she's like, well, you go out with every girl that you can find. And he was like, yeah, but I stay in with you. And I'm like, no, incorrect. Not good enough.
Not a good enough answer.
He says, you know, oh, I give you everything that I can. And she's like, I just wish you weren't so free with your cock. And I'm like,
She had the weirdest vocal fry squeak on that line. It really, it felt so forced.
and this actress has like a naturally raspy voice.
Yeah. Anyway, then he tells her, you know what? Don't do the tour. And they embrace.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And so she laughs and hugs him, and they're all together. And there's a quick cut of Angelique and Joe, and Joe's like, I don't know why Katie puts up with me.
I
And
don't
I'm like,
fucking know
me
either.
neither.
Cut next to, I thought it was an audition, but I actually think it's a music presentation. Joe, ex-wife Audrey, and 3 of the producers are sitting in a small rehearsal room. Looks just like Ripley Greer. The composer is like showing them a new song that he has written, and he's also performing it, Paul, with the pianist.
Paul is our waiter. Paul is just doing his job.
I think Paul's a bit of a goon. Like,
I would do partial of both.
you know who's a waiter? All the doctors.
Oh my
Every
God.
single doctor except the coughing one.
And none of the nurses.
No, none of the nurses. Only the doctors. Oh my God, the nurses. Oh.
Oh no! Okay. So we're at this music presentation for a song for the show that they're working on. And it's a very boppy kind of, it feels like 70s Broadway.
Yeah.
But it's nothing really special. It kind of sounds like things that we've heard before.
Yeah, the song is called Take Off With Us. The producers are eating it up. They are loving this. But Joe and Audrey keep catching eyes, and Audrey is almost cracking up because she's like, this is awful.
Yeah. This is so weird.
But the song ends, and Paul's like, what'd you think?
And Joe's like, I'll see what I can do with it. Quick cut to a dance rehearsal for Take Off With Us, and Joe's just trying to make something out of this, like, super basic song. And then cut to Angelique in the back room of his mind.
Yeah, in, like, a really unnecessary vaudeville threesome bit.
Chicago vibe, where he talks about this time that he tried to have a poly relationship with two girls where they were all three of them living together, and it ended because one girl decided she couldn't share anymore, and she left this note saying that she couldn't do it
and
anymore.
Joe assumed the note was for him.
I know, and Angelique was just like, why did you think the note was about you? And I'm just like, ha ha ha,
because he's the center of his own universe. We are back into the editing room.
Oh, wait, there's a moment that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Because Angelique and Joe never touch. And there's a couple of flashes of moments of him walking around New York smoking, and he, like, stumbles and feels his chest and, like, checks his pulse. And there's a moment where he almost touches Angelique's hand and then pulls back. There's this continuing theme of almost touching death.
Flirting with death.
And then, like, pulling back. So I just wanted to pull that in there because that was a really quick flashing moment.
I'm glad you clocked that because I did not. We are back in the editing room for Joe's film. Joe is hyper-focused on the whatever rendition of the monologue
it's the
he's
same
watching now.
Monologue.
Yeah, there is a producer named Josh next to him who's like, Josh is also maybe a bit of a waiter.
And a little bit of a goon.
Yeah, and a little bit of a goon. Josh is there trying to, like, lay down the law on Joe because Joe is now in triple time. They are past double overtime.
Yeah,
the editing process
editing.
is so delayed. It's costing so much money. Josh is stressed and angry, but, like, not very good at voicing his anger.
No, or, like, asserting any sort of authority.
Yeah.
We should also mention this monologue that he's editing it's about death and the 5 stages of grief. And it's a very funny piece.
The comedian's supposed to be Lenny Bruce, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's what it's about. So we get a lot of audio about death in the 5 stages of grief.
But Joe completely ignores everything the producer says. He goes, I have to go to rehearsal. Why don't you watch what I've cut?
My new cut.
Yeah, my new cut. And the producer sits down. He goes, fuck, this edit is actually better. Shit.
He's so mad. He's so dejected. He's like, oh man, it is better. So we cut to a dance rehearsal. We just see a couple moves, and then we cut to a later rehearsal, him with his daughter.
His daughter's probably like 11, 12, maybe.
11, 12, yeah.
And she's a dancer as well.
Yes, obviously. Like, if your dad's Bob Fosse and her mom is Gwen Verdon, yeah, absolutely, you're going to be a dancer.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's working out some ideas for, like, some moves with her, and she loves it because she just gets to hang out with her dad
It's
and
daddy
dance.
time, yeah.
It's great. And he's always so distracted. He has 8,000 things, and so it's really nice. She's, like, excited to get to spend some one-on-one time with him, which I get.
Even though his attention isn't 100% focused on
Isn't
her.
on her. It's focused on the choreography that he's thinking up.
You know what this reminds me of? You know those drawing mannequins that artists will have? It feels like she's just like a live one.
A mannequin for him.
Yeah. So he can pose and like see how it would look with like a partner.
And he's like, straighten your leg here, and it's like, follow my hand here.
Whereas she just so clearly wants his attention and approval, and he's kind of giving it, but he's also using her.
He's using her. And she starts asking him questions like, why don't you get married again? What about Katie? I really like Katie. And he's like, marriage to me is torture. I wouldn't want to do that to Katie. At least he's a self-aware asshole. And she asks about other girls, and she says, I want you to settle down and stop screwing around because I want a baby brother, and you got to get that done. It's a very cute interaction, and her just like, I want a sibling.
And he keeps trying to like pacify her until he's lifted her up and her like legs are wrapped around him with her back is to him, kind of like in like a swan thing, and she literally like she koalas onto him and does not let go until he answers her question. So he literally carries her to the car because they're late because her mom's
like, it's time to
her
go,
up.
and she's like, no, you have to answer, and she like holds on and won't let go. It's a very childish thing to do. It was very adorable. And so he gets her out to the car, and he starts tootling on the piano and then coughing uncontrollably. And we get a really quick flash of him in an oxygen mask and Angelique looking at him, and then back to him again. So it's like a really quick, like
a little quick flash of maybe death.
Yeah.
We then get a quick montage of his morning routine again, and we cut to rehearsal. It is smaller pairs, 3 or 4 dancers, and Joe is really, really picking on Victoria, who is the dancer that he slept with. They're just like going through this routine again, and she's either not taking his notes or just
not able
to take his notes. Because again, we established like maybe she's not the best dancer, and he keeps yelling at her until she starts crying.
He's hyper focusing on her and none of the other dancers. And so she starts crying and goes to the back and says maybe she should quit. She's terrible.
She fully pity parties herself.
Yeah. And then he goes over and is like, listen, I probably can't make you a great dancer, but I can make you a better dancer if you don't quit. If you commit to this, I can make you a better dancer. So she agrees, and we get a cut of her doing it again, and it's better. He lets her finish the sequence, and he comes up and kisses her forehead and says, that was better.
And he kisses her forehead.
Her forehead. But all the other dancers are happy for... It's one of those moments where I was like, that's not... Like, can you imagine being in a rehearsal in which this director is hyper-focusing on this one person who can't fucking get it right, and then finally she gets it right, and it's just like... It would not be a cheer.
No.
I feel like I would just be like, dear God, that took forever.
Yeah, can we take a
paying
break?
me for every instant. Like, can we go while you work with her and go work on something else? Because this is a waste of my time. Anyway.
Joe doesn't prioritize anyone's time, but Joe's time.
Exactly. So, cut to a doctor's appointment.
So, Joe has had a lingering cough. Clearly, it's been enough that the producers are worried. So, the producers have hired this doctor to, I think, come to the rehearsal space. I think they're just like in a back office. This doctor is inspecting Joe. Both Joe and the doctor are smoking.
This is like for a life insurance policy on Joe for the show.
So really quick, we have failed to establish this. Joe is always smoking. He's also taking prescriptions and he's also sleeping around, but he's also just like smoking so much. This doctor, smoking even more. This doctor is actively coughing up a lung while he is evaluating Joe. He's like, nah, you're totally fine.
You're fine.
Yeah.
And Joe actually starts laughing. He's like, this is so funny. Just because he and this doctor are just smoking while he's getting this physical, and the doctor just can't stop coughing.
The doctor says, yeah, you're fine. You're right as rain. Touching on what you said, Joe's name bears weight. If Joe is supposed to be Bob Fosse, there is weight to the Fosse name, to the...
Yeah, this is post-cabaret.
What's his last name in this film? Joe... Gideon.
Yeah.
There's weight to the Gideon name. So there's a lot riding on this show, especially if Joe is a part of this show. If Joe is sick
this is
and
his
cannot
name.
finish the show. Yeah. The producers are worried about Joe's continuing with the show.
Yeah, because in the timeline of Bob Fosse's life, this is post the movie Cabaret. He's well known at this point, not only in theater, but also in movies, which is why he's doing this
Hollywood, which is why he's editing a film and working on a new show.
Right, exactly.
Cut to rehearsal. Joe and our female choreographer are trying to fix a dance number that they just cannot crack.
This is the same number. This is the takeoff with us.
They just have the dancers do it in like a million different ways, and he feels very defeated. After they've done it like 3 or 4 times, the dancers finish. They look at him just like sweat glistening, breathing so hard, and he just like fucking bails and leaves the room.
Leaves the room.
Rude.
I know.
And you know where he goes?
To his ex-wife. So he goes to another rehearsal room. Audrey is there with Paul. She's rehearsing her solo dance. And it's funny because she does this high kick, and then it feels like she pulls something and falls to the ground. But at that exact moment, Joe walks in, so she plays it off as something that was intended.
Yeah,
and
it was
then,
intentional.
And then like moves into it. And then like you see her later do this number, and she adds that in and does the same thing again. And it actually looks really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Joe's come in to complain.
Pity party.
He's like, the staging is bad.
And like, maybe we should just cut the song. And Paul over the piano is like,
what?
Cut the song?
Audrey is rehearsing her own thing and does not have time for this. And Joe complains. He's like, you're not paying attention to me. And Audrey's like, you have this same fucking meltdown every show.
Every show. Yeah. And he's like, I'm only doing this show for you so you can pretend that you can still play a 24-year-old. And she's like, then quit. You know, don't kid yourself. You're doing this show because you feel guilty over how you treated me. And I'm like, oh, damn.
And how he was never faithful to her.
Mm-hmm. And this is the moment where I was like, the pianist is still in the background just playing, listening to this conversation. I'm like, he's just doing his job.
He is a goonish waiter caught in the crossfire. Joe just says that Audrey thinks small, and how does he know that she was ever faithful to him?
And she, like, scoffs at him.
Yeah.
She's like, what? And he's like, all right, no, I do know that you were faithful.
Yeah.
It's
They just
like,
go
what a dick.
head to head trying to outsmart each other and outwit each other. But Audrey gets the final blow because it's revealed
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
doesn't even remember the names of the girls that he's had these affairs with. Even the ones that
Yeah,
meant
she asked
something.
about, like, one specific one.
It's the blonde from
The
Philadelphia.
blonde from Philadelphia that was, like, the final straw. And she was like, oh, so what was her name? And he can't remember. And she's like, I remember her name. He suddenly gets inspiration and just gets far away look in his eyes and just walks out. And I'm just like,
Dear listener, that noise that just came out of my mouth, that was just a full eye roll.
that was an audible eye roll.
Joe leaves the room because he's full of inspiration, and Audrey says to herself, what I just did with my eyes is that man is going to drive her crazy.
And Paul the pianist is like, he's going to cut my number.
Justice for Paul.
Justice for Paul. All right, so cut to another morning routine. We see it
Morning
again.
meds montage. And then we are back at the rehearsal studio. We are actually outside in kind of like the waiting room. Joe comes out. The producers and Paul are sitting outside. Joe comes out. He goes, okay, look, the number's not ready. And it's not like it was when we talked last time, but you can come in
it's
and
not
see
how we
it in about
discussed.
5 minutes. And then Joe immediately goes
Yes.
to the bathroom to throw up.
Yeah. 45 minutes into this movie, ladies and gentlemen, and we have our first musical number. This is qualified as a musical movie. And it's 45 minutes before we get anything.
This is not, it's a musical number in the same way that like Paul's was a musical number.
No,
but,
I'm
like,
saying like this is billed as a musical movie,
and-
not like our
because
definition.
this is not
And
a
it's-
musical. This is a movie with music.
But it's
I
billed
thought I
as
was
a
about to have to
musical
argue
movie.
with you.
No. This is billed as a musical
Yeah,
movie, and
I
it's
see what you're saying.
45 minutes in before we get anything. I mean, even with No Business Like Show Business, which was barely a musical, we had songs throughout the entire thing, so I was a
Yeah.
little bit more okay with them billing it as a musical movie. Like, this
This is a
not
movie
at all
about a musical.
about a musical. Yeah. So this is the song "Take Off With Us."
You know who's also a waiter? Is the stage manager who has to run across with the smoke
Murray,
machine.
Smoke machine. Oh, bless Murray. Okay, we're
so-
getting ahead. Sorry.
We cut to the rehearsal room. We get the first number that is being presented. The producers are sitting. It goes over very well. The number's called Take Off With Us.
It's a bit more jazzy than originally, and it's very Fosse. The dancing is so good, though. This is the only redeeming factor of this movie, is that the dancing
This
is really good.
feels very opening number-esque.
Yes. It feels like Pippin.
Yeah, no, look at that.
There we are.
The musical is called New York, LA, and it's about like a flight
Yeah,
crew.
sure.
That's their
Why not?
commute. Listen, weirder concepts have been made into
That's
musicals.
fair. The Iceman cometh. Anyway.
Shrek?
Oh, yeah.
Cats.
Oh boy. It is a poem about a cat talent show to go to heaven in a space balloon. Anyway, we've already done that one. We'll move
We
on.
get the opening number. It's great dancing.
It's very fun.
Then we get a transition. They cut the lights.
Joe's like, it's not done
Yeah,
yet.
the producers are like, oh,
like,
great.
oh,
and then
no.
it gets worse.
Oh, yeah.
Murray, the stage manager, runs across with a smoke machine, just going smoke.
Smoke machine.
And there are
Bless Murray.
the lights are dimmed, and Murray is off stage with flashlights, just like randomly illuminating the dancers. And now it is sexy airplane time.
Oh, yes. Erotica, as they call it. So, erotica. I fucking can't. So these three couples get together and they do this dance. So it's two women, a woman and a man, and two men, and they each have their own like solo intertwining things, and it's like sexy dancing,
so
whatever.
sexy, subtly shadowy. The producers,
Yeah, whatever. And
not happy.
It's just like, oh no, we lost the family audience. And then there's an orgy.
Yeah, for the start of this dance, all the dancers strip down to like their undies, and the girls are wearing
Bare minimum.
little bralettes. That goes out the window halfway through. All the girls take their tops off. It's just a full-on dark orgy.
Fuck fest.
Ma'am, this is an airplane.
I would like to bless the musicians in this who have had to play this over and over again during rehearsal.
Oh my god.
And so one girl takes her top off, and then the producer is like, now Sinatra will never record it. I did laugh.
I'm glad you wrote that down. If I was a producer, I would have a heart attack.
I know. I'd be like, what is... No. First, no.
The end of this had me cracking up, though, because they were all taking it so seriously. And it felt very community theater, like pushing the limits of what they could get away with.
It felt like a community theater production of Hair. That's what it felt like. Anyway, so...
The song ends.
Joe asks the producers what they think, and they're like, it's
interesting and unusual. And Joe walks over to Audrey, and he's like, I don't think they liked it.
She's like, I think it's the best work you've ever done. And she looks up with tears in her eyes and is like, you bastard. And then walks away. And I'm like, what?
This is the best work he's ever done.
Like, fucking care.
Okay. This is a gripe.
Good.
This whole film is a gripe. But they...
What's your gripe? This
if
film
you
was
are
made.
saying this is the best work you've ever done, fucking give me something that's phenomenal.
And it's like, I will say, I did enjoy the three couples dancing. That section, I thought was good. And then the orgy bit was just not good.
It felt like shock for shock value.
Yeah. And maybe it's because we don't have context for show or whatever, because I feel like if there was an emotional investment in any of these characters, it might be more interesting.
I'm also
but because
like...
we're only seeing the sex
Think
bit,
about
it's like,
what Broadway
okay.
was like in the 70s.
Yeah.
And like think about what would have been truly so shocking and avant-garde.
Yeah.
Then we're coming at it from a 2022 perspective.
Yeah.
We need to go back 50 years.
Oh my god, 50 years. Anyway.
Audrey says she doesn't know what the audiences are going to think, but it's the best work he's ever done. Tears in her eyes. A producer bemoans that Joe can only think about sex.
Yeah.
We cut to
Angelique.
back of Joe's mind, and Dream World Joe
Yeah.
complains that he can never do anything perfect enough.
And like, God makes a perfect thing, but I can't do that. And Angelique is like, do you think you can be God? And there's a moment where it's like he looks at Angelique's hand and almost takes it, but doesn't. Anyway, back to the cutting room. It's the same fucking monologue again.
Yeah. The producer that was screaming at Joe earlier is so happy.
Josh.
They're in the viewing theater. They're not in the editing room.
Yeah.
It is Josh sitting next to Joe, and then all the editors in the back. Joe does not look happy, but surprise, there's a screening of this tonight. Joe thinks it's going to bomb, and he goes, look, this is just a rough cut. I'm not even going to go to this screening. You need to give them like a warning speech beforehand, and we're going to start recutting this on Monday. And everyone there is just like, can we fucking stop? This is as good as it's going to get.
Yeah. Cut to his apartment, and Katie and Michelle are there. I love that Katie and Michelle have a good relationship.
So just to remind you, Katie is his girlfriend, who he's still with for reasons unknown. Michelle is his daughter.
Yeah.
And they're hanging out.
From Audrey.
Yeah, from Audrey. And they're hanging out cooking together.
Yeah. And Joe gets a phone call saying that people liked the screening. Like, the screening went really well. People liked the movie. And Katie and Michelle remind him, it's like, we told you this movie was good.
Yeah, they've both seen it already.
Believe us.
Even little Michelle, who is like,
yeah, it's her
young,
first R-rated movie.
to get it. And then to cheer him up, or like as a surprise, Katie and Michelle have choreographed a little dance for Joe.
Yeah.
They say, in honor of his flop film, The Stand-Up.
Yeah.
They knew he was going to not be happy with it because he's never satisfied. They were like, Gideon and Jagger, which is Katie's last name. Jagger and Gideon. The song is to Everything Old is New Again.
Honestly.
They dance down the stairs of the loft. They do a lot of...
dance
It's so cute.
is my moment of joy.
Yeah.
This dance with these two girls trying to cheer up this asshole of a man, but their relationship doesn't deserve it. But their relationship is so adorable, and I know it can be really difficult whenever it's like the father's new girlfriend and like all of that, and so it's so cute, and their relationship is adorable. Katie is all about Michelle looking good, and
there's no
just
competition
so
for attention. Joe is literally moved to tears by this dance. It's so cute. We then get a blurry montage of drinks, drugs, showering, morning routine with coughing, like so much coughing that he can't even say it's showtime, folks.
Yeah.
We cut then to table reads.
The table read. So this is, he's showing everyone a mock-up of the stage, and then they decide to do the read-through, sing-through.
The producers are there.
Cast is there. This starts with Audrey reads her first line, and everyone except for Joe and Audrey roar with laughter.
And this continues, but we lose all audio. We
Except
only
for
hear
Joe's movements.
Joe's shaky breathing and movements, but we see the table read happening, and only Audrey notices how disconnected Joe is. Everyone else having a great time, cracking up.
Oh, man.
Paul is like cheersing with his hands, like they have a hit.
Yeah.
It's so great, but we don't hear any of it. We hear the final line of the script. Everyone claps, talks about how great it is, and they break for lunch.
For an hour and a half of lunch? Wild. Anyway, I wrote that down. I was just like, in what world?
And Joe is left alone in the rehearsal room.
Cut to Angelique.
Yes. What does she do?
She removes her veil.
Great. I just wrote
And so-
intercut with white lady.
That's fine. Angelique, it's the first time we actually see her full face because she's been wearing this sort of translucent veil the whole time, so she's been a little bit unclear. So she removes her veil and she is fully revealed
hat
now.
Veil situation reminds me of My Fair Lady a little bit. You know, the side veils, but it's fully in front of her face as well.
One of my favorite shots in any movie with a hat is like whenever we can't see the actress's face because she's wearing a fabulous hat, and then she just slowly looks up to reveal her face and the hat is there. It's also in like Titanic whenever we first see Rose. Like there's a bunch of them. It happens a lot. It's one of my favorite shots always because hats are so important.
I would never know it was in Titanic because I have still never seen Titanic.
Never seen it.
Okay.
So we see shots of Katie running downstairs and trying to catch a cab. There's producers in a cab saying we shouldn't panic until we know more. Angelique lets down her hair after she removes her veil. Cut to a hospital.
Joe is now at the hospital. His doctor says he has serious angina and is on the cusp of a serious coronary episode.
Yes.
He doesn't want to stay. He's like, absolutely not. I have a show to do. Audrey and Victoria make him stay. The producers go outside to talk to the director.
Not Victoria. Katie.
Sorry, Katie.
Yeah.
The doctor's like, all right, who's in charge here? And he takes one of the producers outside, and they have a serious talk that Joe can't hear. Doctor comes back in.
Yeah.
He goes, you have to stay in this hospital for at least the next 2 to 3 weeks. And Joe is like, what? You can't tell me what to do. I'm a man.
Yeah, and he tries to confront the doctor and then immediately has a heart attack. And so...
Literally gives himself a heart attack.
Exactly. So they lay him back down, and then we see a quick shot of Michelle in a taxi with Audrey, and she's like, what's wrong with Dad? And she's like, oh, it's just exhaustion. And she's like,
You're lying to me.
You're lying to me. And she's like, yes.
You know that good old excuse of he has exhaustion, because that's what all tortured artists get.
Exhaustion. Absolutely. Just send me to the country.
To the seaside.
There's a quick shot of Katie backstage at her show trying to call the hospital, but it doesn't go through because she's not technically family. She's like just the girlfriend. And we cut to a rehearsal. The producers then announce that the show is going to be postponed for 4 months while Joe recovers because he pushed himself into a heart attack. It's no longer 2 to 3 weeks, it's 4 months. All of the actors are devastated. One of them is like, well, there goes my new apartment. The other one is just like, I gave up a TV series for this. And the producers are like, listen, we'll do what we can to help you find interim work. We want to keep you on for this show. We think it's really important, and we think you guys are a great cast together. We understand it's hard. And Audrey comes in and is just like, he's already feeling a lot better. He has a new idea. He's like flirting with nurses. And then there's a quick shot of Joe fully unconscious with an oxygen mask and sedated. Audrey's crying, so obviously she's lying to try and make this cast feel better. And he's like, oh, he has a new idea for a new number called the Hospital Hop. And like Paul runs to the piano and starts playing like this jazzy ragtime number. Audrey starts soft shoeing. Everyone claps along. They're just trying to keep morale up.
Here's the thing,
but it's like
not
it feels
everyone,
so forced.
It's so hokey. Some are cheered up, but some dancers are still just like, this is awful news. Why are you trying to make me feel better?
Yeah, this can't be good news. I'm gonna lose my apartment if you're not gonna pay me for 4 months, and I'm expected to just wait around.
Cut to an empty theater. We see a producer and John Lithgow.
With stupid hair.
John Lithgow, who is a director named Lucas, is actively in tech in this theater working on a show that he's directing, but Jonesy, the producer, has come on the side to be like, look, there's no guarantee that Joe's going to be able to work at the caliber that he was at before. I think this show's going to be a really big hit. And he's kind of trying to get Lucas, John Lithgow, on deck to take over, and he gives him a copy of the script.
Yeah, there's a whole moment where Lucas is just like, well, send me over a copy of the script. I'd love to see it. And he's like, would you look at it? I have one right here. And also tells Lucas about this crazy deal and the money that they're giving Joe to work on this, kind of implying it's like, hey, you could have that same deal.
Yeah.
And Lucas is like, oh, I'm so busy, but I can do you this favor. I'll read through it and let you know what I think.
Yeah.
Cut to the hospital. Joe's awake. The doctor says he's doing better, so he can be moved upstairs to a private room, but he has to rest.
Yeah, because he's been
Cut
in
to
the
him
ICU.
actively not resting.
He's having a full-on party in his room. He has invited the whole
What is
cast.
this hospital?
It was the 70s. He's getting
Wild.
massages where he is flirting and like pinching the nurse's
Touching
butts.
the nurse.
And he's smoking and he's drinking.
The doctor says, you're not getting any better. If you don't care about living, why should we care about you living?
Yeah, the doctor's frustrated because Joe doesn't seem to give a damn.
Yeah.
Cut to Katie and Joe lying in his hospital bed, and they are watching a variety show on TV.
Yeah.
And they don't actually see the act. They're just watching the host gearing up to introduce the act. Joe has a bit where he guesses the adjectives that the host is going to use and how many years this host is claiming to have worked with this artist, implying that these kinds of scripts, these sentimental
So
speeches are
insincere.
actually just like utter bullshit. And so it becomes a game with him and Katie of like, all right, who's going to get the most accurate guess on what this host is going to say? Yeah.
Cut to another dance party in the hospital room. A nurse finds a half-naked woman in bed with him, and he's like, the doctor told me to get exercise. Fuck off. The sequence ends. We cut to a panel of doctors, and one of them notes that Joe doesn't seem to care if he lives or dies, and the doctor is like, okay, he may not, but we still have to try and keep him alive, so let's limit his visitors to 2 maximum at a time.
Cut to Joe and producer Josh walking down the hospital hallway, and Josh is telling him that the film has come out and it's like guaranteed to be a blockbuster. There are lines around the block for it, and he gives Joe reviews to read. And Joe's like, these are only good reviews, where are the bad ones? And producer's like, listen, there were a couple bad ones. I left them at the office, but he like he reaffirmed.
And
He's
Joe's
like,
like,
there are all these
never
great
show me
reviews.
the bad reviews.
Yeah, I don't want the bad reviews. But then we cut back to Joe's hotel room where Joe, Katie, a couple other production people, and the producer are watching what would you describe this as? It's like a TV review of his film.
Yeah, so it's as if a reviewer, instead of writing something, had a segment in which they discussed their thoughts about a movie.
It's probably like a TV show where they go over like reviews of like what has come out that week.
Yeah.
But it's a bad review. It's a woman
who
okay, she gives it a bad review, and this woman has the way she rates the films, and she's like
the balloons.
But she rates these films that she reviews. She's clearly a highly respected film critic, and she has a 4 balloon ranking system, and they like appear behind her on this TV show. But she only gives Joe's film half a balloon, 0.5 out of 4.
Out of 4.
And the group that Joe is with is immediately like trying to negate everything
she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Like, she wouldn't know
but
art
also,
if it kicked her
very
in the face.
specifically, in the review, she's like, the script had the potential to be really good. The actor who played this guy, this is the monologue that we'd always been watching, he was fantastic. However, the directing and the editing, the cuts were frenetic. It gave me a headache. This was what made it bad. So putting the blame squarely on Joe, not on the script, not on the actors, on the directing and the editing, which is all Joe.
Joe is locked into this, even as everyone around him is being like, this person doesn't know art. He gets worked up, he falls ill again, and he immediately has to go into surgery.
Cut to an operating room. Joe said that he's scared, and then we cut to the back of his mind again with Angelique.
And Audrey,
Yes, and Audrey's there with 3 doctors. It's like a vaudeville-esque performance in which they explain what's wrong with him. Turns out he has a blockage in 2 arteries around his heart.
Back in his hospital room, Katie and Joe are watching the same variety show again, but it's like the host is introducing a different person, so they're guessing, oh, what's he going to say? What's descriptors is he going to use? Joe is having major surgery tomorrow. Katie gets up to use the bathroom or something, and it's revealed that she had slept with someone else last night.
Yeah, so he called her to just talk to her. She didn't answer the phone, and he was like, where were you? It was like midnight, and it was raining. She's like, I was walking the dog. And he's like, you were seeing someone else, weren't you? And she admits to it, and then asks if they're through, because one issue of fidelity with her obviously means that they're done. Wild. And he's like, I don't know, do you still love me? And she says yes, and he's like, then I guess we aren't through.
And he also says he loves her too.
Yeah, and then cut to the back of his mind with Angelique, and she asks, did you mean it? And he's like, hell no. I was just pissed. I don't know, maybe I did mean it. I just wanted to say something nice in case I died. Wild.
Cut to a boardroom where our producers are meeting with a lawyer and Wallace Shawn.
I know.
Wallace Shawn plays an accountant, just like there to check the math.
I think he has 3 lines.
The producers, the lawyer, and Wallace Shawn, the accountant, are doing the math. This is intercut
for what the budget
with
has
Joe's
been so far.
Surgery is going to be. So, like, as they're crunching all these numbers, like, we actively see
and,
Joe
like,
getting
really explicit surgery.
Yeah, we actively see Joe getting, like, chopped open. The money just keeps adding up for, like, everything the producers have sunk into this production, including how much they're fucking paying Joe. They are in for a lot of money.
$500,000.
So the lawyer proposes 3 things. If Joe lives and they can start production again
within 180 days,
the producers are not liable for any of the cash spent. If he dies and they go with a different director, they're not liable either.
They're not liable.
But if he dies and they don't replace the director, essentially just like shutting down the show,
and they close the show,
they'll make their money back. Like, they will get their money back.
So this is the life insurance policy that they had taken out on Joe. So if he dies before this specific date and they don't continue the show, they get the life insurance policy that they put out on Joe because of this show, and they will recoup what they have lost plus another $500,000. So they will actually make money on a show that they
never
didn't produce.
Yeah.
Right. But if he comes back or if they replace the director, then they don't get that policy. Yeah. So it's like kind of suddenly all of them, without saying it, are like, oh, I guess we have to hope that Joe dies. And then if he does, we just don't move on with the show. Fuck the actors, because that's how we make our money back. Yeah. Wild. They don't say that explicitly, but it is heavily
implied. We cut back to the hospital, and Joe is fully on life support. He is on a ventilator, and we get this long fantasy sequence in his mind where Joe...
What is that called? The
clacker?
Is that what it's called? I couldn't remember. My brain was dead.
The film clacker thing. I should know this.
Yeah, the movie clapboard. I don't know. But it basically says hospital hallucination scene.
It's called
part
a clapperboard. Clapperboard.
Okay. I wasn't too far away.
I mean, I had to look it up. We see, so Joe, in his mind, in this fantasy sequence, plays both the director of this film with, like, he is a director on a film set. And he is also in a hospital bed that is also on this set. So there must have been a body double or something, because he's frequently interacting with himself.
So we have Director Joe and we have Hospital Joe. And that's sort of how I differentiated.
Hospital Joe is starring in this movie that Director Joe is directing.
Yeah, but also he's like somehow the producer, because he keeps going to him asking if like he liked that cut, that version, etc. Anyway, so we also, over top of this, hear that monologue audio, that joke audio about death and the 5 stages of grief over top of all of this. But then we cut to another musical number, another 45 minutes later. This is Audrey and Katie and Michelle, but it's Audrey's is the one singing. It's called After You've Gone. And it is a song, basically, that he's imagining these 3 women who are important in his life. And it's about what they'll do once he's gone and once he's dead.
We then get another song, which is starring Katie. It's called You Better Stop, You Better Change.
That one has fabulous dancing.
Yeah. Katie's a great dancer.
So good.
Dance 3 is like very vaudeville. There are probably like 10 backup dancers with like big white fans.
Dance 3 is Who's Sorry Now, so it's like a fan dance with all of his exes.
And at the end of that number, Director Joe comes over and he's like, hey, you forgot to say your line to Hospital Joe, who actively has a tube in his mouth.
Yeah, he can't.
But Hospital Joe was supposed to say the line, I don't want to die, I want to live. And Director Joe's like, you know what? We'll cut the line. It'll be fine.
If you can't say it, don't worry about it.
Yeah. We then immediately roll into Song and Dance 4, which is Michelle's song called You're Gonna Miss Me, Daddy.
Michelle is like overly dressed up, overly made up, looks like a mannequin, but it ends with Katie and Audrey being like, you can't leave her. What is she gonna do without her dad? As they drive off on top of a white hearse. It is bonkers town.
Oh, it's a hearse? I didn't pick up on that.
It was a hearse.
And Hospital Joe tries to like call out to her, and Director Joe's like, hey, you don't have any lines here. Shut the fuck up.
You don't have a line right here. So cut to Joe in the hospital, sort of coming to after this fantasy delusion. And a nurse is like, don't try and speak, just write what you need on a pad. And so he writes, am I alive? And the nurse is like, yeah, you're alive.
Idiot.
There's a cut of him speaking with Angelique, and he's like, please leave. And she's like, are you sure you want me to? And then cut to, I don't know, some time later, because he's more awake now and his scar is healing, and some doctors savagely removing his bandages. Oh my god. Rip it off like a Band-Aid off of this like open heart surgery that we just did.
But they're like, hey, you're healed enough.
Yeah, your scar is really cleaning up, and Audrey's like, that's a very clean scar. Doctor, good job.
Cut to a diner.
A restaurant, yeah.
Yeah, like a nicer restaurant. Jonesy, the producer, Lucas, and then like another random producer all meeting. Yeah. And they're saying Joe's going to be out of the hospital in like 2 months. Like it looks like the show's still going to happen. Lucas returns the script that Jonesy gave him. He's like, I just made a couple notes. And he fully did like entirely new draft of it. And Jonesy's like, oh, this was so generous. You didn't have to do this. Whereas Lucas is clearly gunning for this job.
Was under the impression that he was going to get this. Just then a woman comes over.
Really quickly, Jonesy's like, oh, you're such a good friend to me. You must have done this out of friendship. And Lucas definitely did this to seal this deal that he would get to do the show. Just that.
Absolutely. I know. He's like gritting his teeth. He's just like, we're all rooting for each other. And just then a woman comes over and asks for Lucas's autograph, and he's just like, oh, this makes me feel better. It's like, absolutely, I'll give you an autograph. And she's like, next to Joe Gideon, you're my favorite director. And his face just like freezes. And then she's like, and I'm so sorry your last show was a flop. Like, who is this girl?
Read the room. Why would you ever say that to someone?
Why would you say that to anyone? Anyway.
All right, we cut back to Joe's hospital room where Audrey is there and there is a nurse who we haven't seen yet. Joe is in his bed and he is panicking. He's convinced he's having a heart attack. And the nurse is like, I gave you medicine 20 minutes ago. You're fine. You're being dramatic.
You can't be in pain.
Yeah, like Joe is actively in pain. And Audrey's like, can you like check his blood pressure? Like, can you go
Audrey's
get a
like,
doctor?
Go get
and the nurse
someone.
is like, he's being dramatic. Yeah. And then she goes and checks his blood pressure. And he goes, wait, this makes no sense because I just gave you medicine 20 minutes ago. And Audrey fully just like yells at the nurse. She goes, go, get the fuck out of here.
Go.
Joe is taken back to the ICU. We quickly see Audrey and the nurse is like giving Audrey her address to send the check to.
Send her check.
I think this was supposed to be Joe's apartment.
Like a private.
Yeah, or like a private outpatient thing where like this is a private nurse that has been hired to take care of him because the nurse is telling Audrey like you can send my check there, and Audrey fully
hits her.
Fully like throws the bag at her or something.
The book at her. Yeah,
and like freaks the fuck out of her. Like justified.
Yeah. So then he's being rolled into the ICU again, and the doctor is like, you're really making use of these machines. Joe is like, oh, something has gone wrong. He's like alone in this room, and he's like, I don't know what, something feels off. And so he like pulls out his oxygen tube and like removes himself from all of these machines. Never do that. Don't pull out your things.
He's
when
also
you're in a hospital.
fully high on morphine. Like we heard the doctor's order to give him morphine.
Oh yeah.
He's afraid to die. He takes out all of his wires and he leaves his hospital bed. A nurse finds the empty bed, panics. Joe has not left the hospital. He first goes like down to the basement and plays in all the water that has collected. He's high as a kite, for sure.
Oh yeah. And over top of all of this, we get that monologue again about the 5 stages of grief over dying.
Yeah.
Haha, I wonder what's happening next. So he's delirious wandering through the hospital. We see shots of doctors trying to find him. He's in the staircase. He somehow gets a head injury.
Because he hits his head against the wall.
Scraping his head against the wall. And it's like leaving a blood streak.
He like wanders into the autopsy room and like talks to some eyeballs. He also finds a dying woman and
Another
while
patient?
he's hallucinating, comforts her and kisses her, and then she dies.
Yeah.
He ultimately finds his way into this unused, it looks honestly like a dining hall.
cafeteria?
Yeah, it looks like a cafeteria, but like it's not in use. There's chairs stacked up everywhere. And a cleaning man has found Joe, and there's a phone on the wall. So the cleaning guy is talking to a doctor on the other line, being like, yeah, I found him. He's fine. He just keeps wanting to sing.
Fine.
Yeah,
Take your time.
He's fine. We're
Singing
old
show
songs.
tunes.
And he hangs up the phone. So, like, they've let security know, like, where Joe is and to come get him. But the cleaner has given Joe a cigarette, which he definitely isn't supposed to have.
Shouldn't do that.
And Joe asks the cleaning guy, whomever Joe thinks he is, to sing that song. Sing that song one more time.
Yeah.
And they sing...
What's that song? One more time.
I don't remember the
Pack
song.
Up Your Troubles.
Yeah, Pack Up Your Troubles. And the cleaning man's got a nice voice, so they kind of just, like, riff.
Yeah, and it's really nice, and they vibe together. Then 2 attendants come, and they walk him back to his room, and he is strapped down to the bed so that he can't wander off again. Cut to the back of his mind, Angelique is, like, putting stage makeup on him and, like, putting him in a costume.
But it's also while he's being prepped, like, putting his IVs in. So, like, while Angelique is, like, putting makeup on his face, nurses are, like, wiping down his arms.
They're reattaching
with,
him.
like, alcohol wipes to attach him to his IVs again.
Yeah.
And then we get...
We see that guy from the variety
host.
show, the host, introducing someone who's like friend of no one, not much of a humanitarian. Here he is in the late stages of his life, Joe Gideon. And we get the final
And
number.
we are in Joe's mind, but the whatever liminal space we were in that was like the back room storage of a theater, we are fully out in front of the curtain. There is an audience. Yeah. Honestly, picture the Cordy Collins show.
Yeah, but like dark.
Very dark lighting and LeMay backdrop.
Lacquered.
Very colorful, very high budget.
Yes. There are 2 women there in the most
God.
confusing costume
This
I've
is
ever
the
seen in my
weirdest
life.
fucking
Are they
scene.
supposed to be the nervous system? Are they supposed to be?
They are in white body
don't know.
leotards with what are like arteries in red and blue up and down
Arteries,
their
okay.
bodies. Listen, the 70s
with like a weird attachment to the
were
back
weird.
of their
They
head.
looked like sperm. I honestly
Yeah.
don't know. There's
wasn't
also like
great.
weird medical accoutrement all over this soundstage. So there's like a skeleton mannequin in the audience.
Yeah.
There are doctors in the audience.
Katie is in the audience with like another guy. Audrey
Implying that
and
she's
Michelle
moved
are there.
on.
Everyone lights candles for him. So we have this big final number, which is Goodbye Life, which is a play on the song Goodbye Love.
From Bye Bye Birdie.
Yes, of course. During the song, Joe goes into the audience to say goodbye to people. He's like doing to uproarious applause.
Yeah, he's like making amends to all the people he's wronged.
Yeah.
He gives Audrey a big hug. He hugs
Paul
Michelle.
is there. Yeah.
And he gets redemption. Like, literally everyone forgives him in this dream world. Sorry, Lucas does not.
Yeah,
Lucas
like-
is not happy.
Lucas like angrily shakes his hand, and it's just like, yeah, that's fair. And so the song ends with like a huge flourish, and Joe starts to move backstage towards Angelique, who's waiting for him.
Oh, sorry. Really, really quick.
Yeah.
The last lyrics of this song are, I think he's going to die, or I think I'm going to die. As this plays out, Joe whooshes down this hallway, and we had this like very grandiose orchestrations that then suddenly cut to silence, and we see Joe's dead body being zipped up in a body bag.
And then the song "There's No Business Like
There's
Show
no
Business"
business like show
by
business.
Ethel Merman starts to play. It is
I was
a
not
wild
prepared for that.
ending. Oh my god, what about a tonal shift? Hot damn.
Oh gosh. Okay.
That's the end, y'all. Jesus.
Grace, what did you think of this film?
I can see how it would be popular in the late 70s.
Yep.
It did not age well. The dancing was obviously fabulous, but I was so, like, in this, the year of our Lord, 2022, in which we do not allow bullshit behavior from men when just behave better. Like, you are a grown-ass adult, behave better. It wasn't acceptable.
We stopped looking the other way on bad behavior because someone is talented.
Yes, exactly. Talent is only part of it. You also have to be a good person. I found myself very frustrated because I could see how in the 70s this was just like, oh, what an incredible person.
What a conflicted artist. He's got such demons.
Ugh. No. I found myself very frustrated because it just felt dated.
Yeah. Which is why I'm interested in watching Fosse Verdon, which I still haven't seen.
Yes, so I watched a couple of episodes, but I didn't get all the way through.
I'm not denying that Bob Fosse was like an absolute jackass. And I like that miniseries doesn't shy away from that, but doesn't try to make it okay.
Yeah, and also Sam Rockwell, shockingly fabulous. Holy shit.
I love Sam Rockwell.
Was not anticipating that from him. I'm like, I fucking love Sam Rockwell. I also loved, it's Michelle Williams, right, as Gwen Verdon. She was also stunning. Their chemistry was fabulous. Yeah, it's a really good TV show. So that's going to be my homework, is if you want a better version, I think, of Fosse that also focuses a little bit more on Gwen Verdon, who is such an important figure in his life and such an important figure in her own right. It's a little bit less, as I said earlier, masturbatory.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I talked a little about this at the beginning. I'm very tired of these men behaving badly for the tortured artist's sake films. And I was imagining, like, what if there was no Angelique in this film? What if in his mind scenes were him alone? Because I was reading an article about Fosse, and one thing that someone mentioned is that, like, he hated more than anything spending the night alone, and that's why he slept around with so many people.
Yeah.
And, like, he couldn't bear to, like, be alone with his own thoughts. Like, that's why he, like, tossed himself into all these projects.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if I would feel more empathetic for him when he's being awful to these other people, if I got, like, moments of vulnerability of him being alone and scared. Like, if he was facing death with no Angelique holding his hand and, like, stroking his ego.
And ushering him.
Yeah.
I get that. Okay.
We're not drinking because of our time zones right now, but it is time.
Yes. I am emotionally drinking.
It's time for some dramaturgy report on this film that was very hard to find. Dramaturgy report. All right. As we have obviously mentioned, this was directed by Robert Louis Fosse, who was an American dancer, musical theater choreographer, actor, theater director, and filmmaker. We're gonna do more Fosse films, so I'm not gonna go super in depth for him.
And this was very autobiographical anyway, so you kind of get the theme of his life.
You got a good gist of it. But he directed and choreographed musical works for the stage and screen. The most recent stage musical prior to this was Chicago. He also directed several films, and the most recent film prior to this was the film Lange, which is about the comedian Lenny Bruce, which is the film within a film of this film. This film is semi-autobiographical about Fosse's difficulty to direct Chicago while he was also editing Lenny.
Yeah.
And then he directed this. So he has a very distinctive style of choreography. He's the only person to ever win an Oscar, Emmy, and Tony in the same year as of now. Yep. The cinematographer for this was Giuseppe Rotuno, who was an Italian cinematographer. He was the director of photography on 8 films by Fellini, and he collaborated with several celebrated Italian directors. He really only did Italian films. He was nominated for an Academy Award for this film, and he was the first non-American member to be admitted to the American Society of Cinematographers. Oh, that's all I got for him.
Amazing. All right. So the writers, this was written by Fosse and Robert Allen Arthur, who was a screenwriter, director, and producer. He was really, really famous for working with Sidney Poitier. He wrote Spring Reunion, he wrote Warlock, wrote and directed The Last Man in 1969 about a black militant, which was played by Sidney Poitier, and he also was a writer and producer for All That Jazz. He passed in 1978, so he received 2 posthumous Academy Award nominations for his work on All That Jazz. So, as you said, it's a semi-autobiographical fantasy of this one moment in his life. Yeah. Many of the characters are based off of real-life counterparts. For example, Audrey was based off of Bob Fosse's wife and star Gwen Verdon. John Lithgow, Lucas, was based off of the director and choreographer Michael Bennett, famous for Chorus Line and Dreamgirls. And Fosse had a long-standing rivalry with Michael Bennett. Jonesy was based on Harold Prince, another rival of his. Anne Reinking, who played Katie, basically just played herself.
That's the wildest story, that they made her audition several times to essentially play Fosse's girlfriend.
She almost didn't get the part.
I hate that.
Wild. And then Paul, the pianist, was supposed to be Stephen Schwartz, who Fosse worked with on Pippin and didn't enjoy his time with.
What a snob.
He's such an asshole. And Angelique, as you said, was based mostly on his first wife, Joan McCracken, who died in 1961. And the character of Davis Newman was based on Dustin Hoffman, who played the title role in Lenny. So basically that guy was playing Dustin Hoffman playing Lenny Bruce. Music and lyrics, this was mostly put together by Ralph Jose P. Burns. He was an American jazz pianist, composer, and arranger. He wrote compositions for Tony Bennett and Aretha Franklin, Natalie Cole.
Yes.
He was responsible for the arrangements and introduction of a string orchestra on 2 of Ray Charles's biggest hits, Come Rain or Shine and Georgia on My Mind. Ooh. Yes. In 1960s, he stopped being a touring band pianist and began arranging and orchestrating for Broadway. So he did Chicago, Funny Girl, Nona Nanette, and Sweet Charity. In 1971, he did his first film score for Woody Allen's Bananas, and then he ended up working with Fosse on the movie for Cabaret. He also composed the film scores for Lenny and in Martin Scorsese's jazz-themed New York, New York, and then he worked again on All That Jazz, for which he won the Academy Award, and then he worked on Urban Cowboy, and then he also worked on Annie in 1982. So this is for actors and casting now. There were a lot of people that they were considering to play Joe Gideon. At first, as you said earlier, Bob Fosse was like, I want to do it.
I'll do it.
At which point the producer was like, you have had a heart attack. You will
survive.
Die.
Have you learned nothing, you stupid man?
Richard Dreyfuss was originally cast, but he walked out of the production because he was like, I have no confidence in what's going on here.
And then it won so many Oscars.
He later admitted and was like, maybe that was a mistake. Jack Lemmon was considered for the role for a while, but they decided he was too old. Paul Newman turned down the role because he wasn't comfortable playing a dancer. Alan Alda, Robert Blake, Elliot Gould, Gene Hackman, Jack Nicholson, and George Segal were all considered. Eventually, the guy who ended up getting it, Roy Scheider, Columbia Pictures didn't want him for the role originally. They wanted Warren Beatty or some other actor. See the list that I just named. But Bob Fosse stuck to his choice and fought for Scheider and eventually secured him as the lead. And as we said, Anne Reinking basically just played herself. And I want to talk a little bit about her because she is fabulous. So, she was an American dancer, actress, choreographer, and singer. She worked extensively on Broadway, so she was in Coco, Over Here, Good Time Charlie, Chicago, Dancin', and Sweet Charity. She won a Tony Award for Best Choreography in the 96 revival of Chicago, which she choreographed and starred as Roxy Hart. Wild. She won the Olivier Award for Best Theater Choreographer for the 2000 West End production of Fosse. She also appeared in All That Jazz, obviously, in Annie in 1982, and then in Mickey and Maude in 1984. In 1995, she choreographed the ABC television movie version of Bye Bye Birdie. In 96, she was asked to create the choreography in the style of Fosse for an all-star 4-night-only concert staging of Chicago, and when they weren't able to find an actress for Roxy, they asked her to reprise the role after almost 20 years. And it was a huge fucking hit. Honestly, the fact that she's able to do that role after 20 years, she's fucking fabulous. Anyway, she's incredible. She passed in her sleep in 2020. And that's sort of who I wanted to focus on because the fact that she played herself and had to audition for herself and almost didn't get cast as herself gives me a little bit of fury. So I wanted to give her some attention.
Yes, appreciated. Okay, I think this is the first film we've done where I don't agree with the reviews, but this has an 87% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. This got such good freaking reviews when it came out. And I think it's what you said. I'm sure it was a hit when it came out. It just has not aged well. It was inducted into the Library of Congress and selected for preservation in 2001. It's also in the American Film Archive. And as of 2006, it was ranked 14 by the AFI on greatest movie musicals. First of all,
It's not a
movie musical. It is a movie about a musical, and it is a movie with music.
No one sings or dances outside of the context of which singing and dancing would naturally occur.
This film was the last musical to be nominated for Best Picture until Beauty and the Beast in 92, and it was the last live-action musical to compete in the category until Moulin Rouge in 2002. Okay, singing and dancing.
All right.
Singing was fine.
It was fine. I didn't have any good or bad notes about the singing. Again, there weren't a lot of numbers. One thing I did enjoy about the singing was in Michelle's final number, she was singing in a really dissonant tone that made it very ominous and was like intentionally off key, which really added this ominous spooky vibe of "you're gonna die, daddy," and it's like, oh wow. So I thought that was a really good choice.
In terms of dancing, how dare I have notes?
I mean, we did have notes for the orgy scene, but
yeah. If I was a producer.
but it's Fosse, and his style is fabulous. He is an incredibly talented choreographer. He is also an asshole.
All the choreography was so in line with what made sense for the world.
And it's with dancers that he had worked with for a long time that knew his style. Again, Anne Reinking, who had worked with him on all of these things, who replaced Gwen Verdon as Roxy in the original Chicago, who ended up coming in as Charity. He's working with people who knew his style, who he had worked with for a really long time. And so his style was showcased to its best possible option.
We're not excusing his behavior. We're just saying it's
No.
a good representation of why his choreography was so iconic.
Yes, and it's still iconic.
Yeah.
Nothing has quite touched that.
Gripes and giggles.
My gripe is that this movie exists.
My gripe is that, as I pointed out before, I'm questioning the necessity of the woman in white, Angelique, and the fact that those sequences truly came out of nowhere. I was just very confused by them. Especially, this film won a lot of awards. I'm not even touching on them because there were so many, but specifically it won a lot of editing awards, and I can see that for how like manic this Fosse character was supposed to be. I think just plot wise I didn't understand how we were supposed to fit this alternate dream world until I just literally had to make sense of it for myself. It didn't feel very well integrated.
Yeah.
That's my gripe.
My actual gripe is just the women characters didn't feel fleshed out or like they had
agency,
that's the word. Yeah, that was my main gripe. And you have these two legends of Broadway. This is supposed to be Gwen Verdon and Anne Reinking. Holy shit, these women are stars in their own right, and they're relegated to side plots.
Yeah, supporting characters to this man's ego.
Yeah, which is why my homework is to watch Fosse Verdon, because it is a much better representation of, one, their relationship and the highs and lows of that, two, their collaborations, and it doesn't put Gwen Verdon as a side plot.
Love it. Do you have a giggle?
Is the dance with Katie and Michelle. It was just so cute. Also Murray, smoke machine.
My giggle is just the fact that 4 years prior to this, Rob Schneider had done Jaws.
What a switch. So funny. Oh my lord. Okay, that's good. Fantastic. What a good giggle. Made me giggle.
Good.
Do you have any fun facts?
I do. You've said 2 of them.
Oh, no. I only have 1.
But no, it's okay. I had 3 and you've said 2 of them, so you've done the work for me. My fun fact is that it's speculated. So this film's trademark line is, "It's showtime, folks." And it's speculated that that's when the Dexedrine kicks in, because that kind of prescription is an IR, which is an instant release. So like it hits you right away.
Right.
And it's a powerful amphetamine.
Ooh.
So it's like an instant hit of this incredible focus and euphoria.
Energy.
Yeah, like within an hour of ingestion. Like it hits you right away. So like that kind of kick in the pants feeling is
it's showtime.
It's showtime.
All right. That's interesting.
It's speculated.
Yeah. My fun fact is this is the only R-rated musical ever nominated for a Best Picture Oscar.
Yep. For now.
Yep. Until we get another... I want more R-rated musicals, please and thank you. Anyway, that's what I got. Do you have any homework? I've talked about
I know. I fully agree with Fosse Verdon.
Okay.
Like, that's what I want to take away from this film. Like, you can try to watch this film. It's very hard to find. And instead, why don't you watch
Very hard to find. You may get a computer virus.
If you give me a virus from watching this, I'm going to come across the world to punch you in the throat. Instead of watching this, watch Fosse Verdon.
Listen to this episode, but then go watch
You know
Fosse
what? This episode will be under 2 hours. This was a 2-hour film. It did not need to be 2 hours.
And I think that's
literally all she wrote. I'm out of notes. Thank you all for listening. You've been a great audience.
Yes.
I have been Anna.
I'm still Grace.
And this has been 5678, a movie musical podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.